Hello and welcome back to my tutorial series showing you how to make your own cartoon from start to finish with Toon Boom Harmony Premium. In this episode we are starting the character animation in the scene that we've prepared, using the character rig that we've built, with the background that we've designed, and using the voiceover that we've recorded. And all of those processes are included in the previous videos in this series, which will be linked below, and you can download this character rig from my Gumroad, which will also be linked below. This animation is going to be for demonstration purposes, to show you how I animate a character cutout rig. So we will simply have him kick open this door, he'll walk outside, he'll say a line, he will then walk over to this tree, say another line, and he'll shake the tree where an apple will fall and land into his hand. He will then take a bite, and we'll have him then turn around and walk out of the shot back towards his house. Because this animation will take a while to complete, I'll probably split it up into multiple parts. So part 1, I'll probably do some rough blocking out and get those key poses done. Part 2 will be adding anticipation, overlap, follow through, and breakdown animation with easing, which serves as a bridge between the key poses. And then part 3 will be lip syncing. I may go a bit quiet for sections of this video while I focus on posing the character, but I'll make sure to explain my processes where I can. Think of this video as the planning out stage. We will be focusing on the key poses, which are an important part of telling the story, and it's important to get those poses right in order to achieve believable character acting. So what sort of poses make sense for the character and the situation that they're in? If you have dialogue, which we do, the character's actions need to make sense in relation to what they're saying, and so does the timing. If you're an artist who's done lots of character design or life drawing, this is where those skills can really come in handy, because you'll be more familiar with correct form, proportions, foreshortening, etc. If you don't have those skills, this is where references can be super helpful, such as taking a photo or video of yourself, which is what I'll probably be doing during this animation, or using a posing software such as Easy Pose on Steam. I'll be animating on 2s for the most part, meaning movement will be on every 2 frames, so I'll have my keyframes on evens only. This is very common for television animated series because it's less work and it also gives it a nice visual style. My interface may look slightly different to yours. I have moved and customized some toolbars and tabs, but all of this should be accessible to you if you're using Toon Boom Harmony Premium. They'll just be in different locations, and you can always right click different windows here to bring up different tabs or tools. So let's get started. There are going to be some camera changes, some different camera shots, and normally, again in a studio setting, you would have those camera shots separated out into their own scene file in Toon Boom. But in this instance, we're probably just going to have it all in one scene file because it's going to be quite a short scene. There's only going to be a few shots. So just to keep it simple, we're gonna do it all in this scene. The camera starts over here, and I want there to be a little bit of an establishing shot. So I've got the background here, and then this is where our character is, and our character is feeding into this background group, and it's placed here between the door and the house overlay, and then everything else is behind him. And then we've got our camera here. So our camera's down here, and it's going to pan over to the house. So I've already animated this. And if you do want to make a camera, you can either come down to the node library and you can search camera, or you can press enter and type in camera here. That might not work for earlier versions of Toon Boom. Or you can come over to here and add a camera that way. So the camera starts here on the left, and then it's going to pan to the right. It does stay there for a little bit because I'm going to have it fade in slightly and just pause on that shot just for the viewer to take in what they're seeing. And then we slowly pan to the right, and we've got parallaxing going on because our background is layered appropriately in the Z depth, like I showed you in a previous video. And then it stops on the house, which is where we're going to start animating. So you can see here, in the timeline, I've got the playback area starting from frame 20. And that's just because I've got all of my turnaround angles down here, just to have them there in case I need to copy and paste anything or to refer to them. So this is where the scene's going to be starting. So it pans over. I'm going to let the camera rest for a few frames, till frame 130, let's say. And then this is where the door is going to fly open. So I'm actually going to click on the door and just disable it for the time being. And I want to start with a 3/4 angle because it doesn't make sense for him to be at this back angle. So with Sunny, the Sunny master layer, I'm going to put a keyframe there by pressing F6, just so I know where to put it. I can either go back to these references that we had here. So I can take this and I can copy it and paste it here. Or I can enable the master controllers. And I can use the master controller to just rotate him. So that's the angle that we want. And he's kicking the door open. So we want him in a pose where he's just finished his kick, because the animation before that you're not going to see because the door's over him. So let's pose him up. So I'm going to have his body come back a little bit. And I'm probably going to have his head tilting forward. So I'm just using B and Shift B to go up the hierarchy or down the hierarchy. And then I'm just thinking about what leg I'm going to use to kick the door open. And I think the far leg is going to be the easiest one. And we can change the display as well. So if I go to display Sunny, because we've got a Sunny display node there, we can just isolate the character. That makes it easier to work on because you've got no distracting stuff in the background. And also it might save a little bit on performance as well because we've only got this rig here. So let's bring these arms back. Another thing is as well, I've actually updated this rig. So I've made it a little bit easier to work with. So I've actually gotten rid of the shoulders. The shoulders were a separate element, but now I've just made some extra points on the deformer so the torso can be moved in place of the shoulders. And I might put a little bit of foreshortening on this arm as well. I'm gonna select control selection mode so I can select multiple deformers at the same time. A little bit of a bend. We could do the same for this one. And that shoulder's coming all the way back there, so I'm actually going to move that, and then move that entire arm back. We can put a bit of a curve. On this torso here. And then this is where the kick is going to happen. And because he's at a 1/4 angle, I might actually make these rounded. And then we can put a little bit foreshortening on this as well. As if it's coming towards the camera a little bit more. We'll bring that soul in as well. Something like that. And then I do want to do a little bit of a bend in that leg there. So I just want to get that 1/4 pose back, just so I can refer to it, because that's going to be the pose after it. So I'm just going to put it next to this pose. Use the deformer on this as well. So let's put a little bit of a bend in these legs. And while he's in this pose, I'm just going to give him a little bit of a frown as well. I've just got an extra camera tab here just for my master controllers. So make him look like he's actually looking at the door. And I'm not actually going to worry about the mouth yet. We'll just focus on the eyes, I think, and then we'll do the mouth right at the end when it comes to the lip sync. Something I do want to do is these hands are open at the moment, so I want to make new hands where it's a closed fist. So let's make duplicates of those by selecting the drawing and then pressing Shift, Alt and D to create a duplicate of that drawing. So we've got that one here. And then if we come to the drawing, let's get rid of the color. And then I'm just going to use Control Alt just to rotate that. And then I'm just going to turn this into a closed fist. So I'm selecting the contour editor, or you can press Alt Q. So there we've got a closed fist, not perfect, but you can spend a bit more time on your hands. And we also want a closed fist for this one as well. So let's do the same. And there we go, we've got a closed fist for that one as well. So let's bring back that display. And we'll also bring back that door as well. We'll start it from here. So it'll be there. And then on the next frame, that's where it bends. And I think we'll skip that frame. We'll only have it there, and then that can be the wide one. For that door, let's turn on onion skin with this button, and I am just going to have it be a little bit closer, I think. Have it like there, down a bit, so it swings open like that. So let's go back up to Sunny, push that keyframe down, or we can click that and press Shift plus, which will move those frames down. So the door's open. We've got our pose, and then we'll have him go back into his rested state. So now I want him to take a couple of steps so he's outside of the house, and then he's going to look up to the sky and he's going to say, "What a beautiful day." And we've actually got a walk animation. So we need to go into our character rig build. We have to go get our walk cycle animation. We have to add it to the library. So let's do that now. So here's our Sunny rig, and we're just going to go to the end of the timeline, and this is where our walk is here. So we can take the keyframes from the Sunny Master here, and then we're going to go to the library. This is my Sunny library here. If you want to make a new library, you can right click, open library, go to the folder destination you want, and you can just drag it in. And we're just going to call this Sunny Walk Water. Press OK. We'll go into the other scene. So here's our library. Right to modify. We're going to refresh this because we've just added that template. That's where the action is. We're going to navigate down to our Sunny Master. So he kicks the door open, and remember we're just doing the key poses, the blocking out, so we're not going to do the full animation quite yet. And then he can have a little pause. We'll paste that there, and then we can have our walk action go from here. So all we have to do is drag that in, and there we go, our walk action has been put in. And remember, this won't work dragging that in there if your character rig that the action is from is different to the one that you've got in the scene. Meaning, in this node view, say for our character, we've added an extra node somewhere in here, or we've taken a node out. If anything's different, then when you drag that in, it just won't work. So if you're having that problem, make sure that your in-scene rig is exactly the same as your build rig. So he's just going to take a couple of steps until about this position here. So I'm just going to use the path peg. I'm going to create a keyframe here, turn our onion skin on, and we're just going to move him from, and on this path peg, we're using this path peg to move the overall character because he's got a treadmill walk cycle where he's walking on the spot. And remember, he's moving off from this foot for that first frame. So we're going to move it so that the back foot is lined up with that other back foot there. He's then going to move, probably have him take 2 steps, and then he'll go back to his standing pose. So he'll take 1 step, 2 step, and then I think from there he'll go into his stance. So we'll get rid of those 3 frames, and then we'll put that one about there or so. And remember, the door was in front of him when we started, so we're going to bring Sunny towards us in the Z depth by pressing Alt and down. Let's bring him to about there, see how that looks. So I think he's going a little bit too far forward, so let's bring him back a little bit. And then we can change that to 2s. And then from here, he'll go into his rested state. So again, onion skin, we're going to be on the Sunny master layer. We'll just bring that to about there. So it'll go from that to that. So we've only got these frames here, which aren't blocked out because we've used our walk action. So that's fully animated already. So then we're going back to blocking. This is where he's going to look up in the sky and he's going to say, "What a beautiful day." I think we're already going to have him looking up as he comes to this stance. So let's have him looking up, maybe bend that neck a little bit. And we do have our master controllers here. We've got that head rotation. We'll bring that head down a little bit more. So we're going to bring in our first dialogue line. So we're going to go File, Import, Sound. We will then navigate to our sound files, which is this one, Oh Boy. Open that. And we need this to start on frame 184. So if we go down to here and double click the sound, we can type in 184 here where it says start frame. And then we can have it stop at 220 there. Actually, I might push that down a little bit. So have it start 192. So we can turn on sound and sound scrubbing. So his action is going to be like, "Oh boy, what a beautiful day." So on the O, and this is where it's really good to use reference. So, don't be afraid of filming yourself doing the animation full reference, because that can be really helpful when it comes to timing as well. So we'll keyframe that. We'll have it go from 192, and then we'll have it end, let's try 202. He's going to have his arm raised up. So let's raise that arm up there. Have that hand move. I'm going to do some foreshortening. Going to turn on our Sunny display. We'll change to that fist that we had. So we might need that hand shape that I've got there where it's like, oh. So let's pull that shoulder up here. And I am going to paste that there. And then I'm just going to turn it to that side view there. We'll copy and paste that arm. Paste it there. Going to tween it. So just so we got that turn going on. Just because I want a little bit of a turn as he comes, as he says, "Oh." Yeah, I think I am going to have to make a new hand for that. Which is this fist. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of that. So there we go, I've put a brand new hand in there. Maybe have him lean back a little bit. So now he's gone from that, he's going to go, "Oh boy." So it's actually going to be more of a front view here. So we'll copy and paste that there. I'm not going to make it fully front on, but quite close to it. So we can have that tween. Then we'll have it about there. So this. So we've got those two poses now, so he's going to be, oh boy, what a beauty. I think he's going to put his arms in the air as well, so he's going to go, what a beautiful day. So we'll have his arms up there. And remember, when your arms raise up above your head, your collarbone is also rotating, so it doesn't make sense to have like a flat shoulder and then your arm coming up like that. So his hands are going to be more like that, so his arm's going to be a little bit foreshortened. Let's bring these down. So I just want to make sure I get this pose right, so I just took another reference image. Shrink it down to size. Down to about there. And then I'm going to redo that hand. Might actually increase the size of this hand slightly as well. So as you can see, a lot of this is just getting that posing right, looking good. Then we can worry about the timing after. So for the next one, I think he's going to have his hands on his hips. We'll do it on day. So let's bring that back and that hand. Bring that up. Then we can bring that arm down. Then we'll have the pupils looking over there. So let's have a look at the animation so far.
Oh boy, what a beautiful day.
So this is where he's going to walk across to this tree, and then he's going to start shaking it. So again, we can go to the library, we can get our quarter walk action. Then we'll have him walk from there, I think. So we'll plop that in, and we can put our path peg on it. And we'll probably have to have a few of these. So we'll just cycle that a few times. Let's just try moving it to here. And then we'll hold shift and left arrow key. So here, I think we'll have him stop, because he is going to have to go up to the tree and shake it. But I think we'll have him stop there first, and then look at the tree, and then approach it, then shake it. So let's just eyeball the speed of that. Then I think he'll stop about there. Actually, let's have him stop about there, I think. So we'll delete those keyframes. And this one. And then we'll go back. We'll reuse this pose. And then you look up here, and this is where he's going to say his next line. So we'll import another sound. So I think around this bit, I want him to start looking at the apple tree. So we'll go to the head master peg. Actually, let's go to the eyes peg. Eyes and eyebrows. And then we're going to clear out those. And then we can have a blink in there. And on this frame, the eyes are going to be looking up. So at this point, I'm going to have him sort of do like a crazed look where he's like, for the picking. So we'll collapse the master peg. You always want to try and work on the master peg as much as possible collapsed. So I'm going to have him come up on his tippy toes. Then we'll have his pupils kind of looking in opposite directions. So after he says that line, we're going to have him come back down to that pose. He is then going to carry on walking over to this tree. So we'll bring that walk back in. Started about there. And then we'll go up to the path peg, keyframe that, and we will move that back foot to where that back foot was there. And then we'll find the end point. So I'm going to bring it up to here. We want him to come back to a standing pose. So we're going to take that keyframe and then we're going to paste it here. And then we're going to match that front foot with that foot there, because this is where he's going to be grabbing the tree and then he's going to be shaking it. So let's change those to 2s. And then this pose is going to be him grabbing the tree. So we'll pose that out. And for this upper body, so you can see we need that arm to grab onto this. Just resetting those arms there. So we can bend this a little bit. This arm's going to go behind that tree, so we'll change that in a bit. We do want both arms to be bent as well. So he's going to start bent, and then he's going to push forward, so his arms are going to straighten out a little bit more. And then he's going to bend back and repeat. And this body's going to have to be squashed down a little bit more. I will have some foreshortening on this arm, I think. So I think what we'll do with that tree is just bring it forward a little bit. So we'll change it to animate mode off. We'll just bring it forward so it's between the arms there. So we've got a deform in that tree, so that tree does the bendies. And now I'm going to do the second pose where his arm's straightening out. And we'll just do that there. We'll focus on the timing a little bit later. This is just for the posing only. So let's straighten out those arms. And also he is going to be leaning forward as well. We will also lean that neck forward as well. I actually want these arms to be lower, just so that hand placement is level with the previous pose. I am going to put a little bit of a curve in this back as well. And now we can bend that tree. So we'll bring that to there. Actually, something you will notice is that the bottom of the tree is moving. So what we need to do is, because we want this to be rigid here. So there we go, now the bottom isn't moving. I actually want his head to be looking upwards. So we'll just change that, because he's looking for an apple to fall. So we'll take that first pose and we will paste it here. So there's going to be 2 keyframes in between this. We can take these and then I can paste it there just a couple of times just to get that tree wiggle. And we will have to do the same for the tree. So let's go down, find that tree and match it with the timing of our character. Then we can paste that twice as well. And we'll change this pose so that he is anticipating the catch of the apple. So I want all this upper body to kind of go back to the default of the turnaround. So I'm going to use my master controllers to bring it back to that quarter pose. And then I'm going to reset all the deformers on the arms by pressing B, clicking the reset current keyframe. And then his body is at the pose we want. I think I'll have his arm come out a little bit. And I might have him step back actually. So what I'm going to do is just have him come back a little bit, just to, you know, have some more room around the arm area so that the trunk isn't kind of interfering. And this leg is going to be moving forward. This leg is going to be sliding back. I think I'll have that leg a little bit bent as well. We'll just keyframe. We'll just move those deformers up. So he's coming back. He's pivoting on the front leg there. This leg is sliding backwards. I think we'll have this arm more up here. Gonna foreshorten this arm a little bit. So he's coming back, he's anticipating the fall, he's standing back up. Let's copy and paste those eyes to the same position so it's looking up on there as well. And this arm is going to come up now to meet the apple. So we're going to move it up. We actually need a new hand here to have that catch. That hand is perfect for the catch. So we'll just bring that to about there. Let's fix this body. So this is where we need to do the apple as a separate prop. So we're going to have to make two props for the apple. We're going to have to make one, which is outside of the character rig. So the apple's going to be falling from here to here. So if we go to the node view, I'm going to make a composite and it's going to be placed under the apple tree. So I'll make a new node and we'll call it apple. And I'm going to place that there. Move that over a bit. Put a peg on it. Because I've changed the Z depth of the tree and we're no longer moving the tree, I am just going to make it a child of the tree peg. And then we can draw the apple. Yep, let's just use the background rig. So we've got three colors. We've got the line. Actually, let's go to this apple tree here, just so we can get an idea of what the colors are. This one is going to be the highlight. This one will be the main apple color. We'll do two more. We've got to do the leaf and the stalk as well. And I should probably make these apples a little bit smaller because they're a little bit too big for his hand, but I'm just going to make mine a little bit smaller and just pretend it's a smaller apple. So we'll go to the apple there. We'll get that thickness, which is it a 2 thickness? I think it is. Let's try a 1. Yeah, we'll just do 1. So yeah, we'll start with a circle. We'll just make this apple. And I'm actually going to make 2 substitutions for this apple. And also I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, just so it fits in the hand a little bit nicer. I am going to make the lines a little bit thinner. Let's make them a 1.5. And we'll put the pivot point in the middle. So yeah, 2 instances of this apple. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to press Ctrl-Shift-D to duplicate it. Then we'll come into the drawing view. And I'm going to put a bite mark in the side. So now we've got 2 apples. We've got one whole apple and one with a bite. probably made that bite a little bigger, but that's okay. So we've created the apple here, and you can see it's disappearing, so we need to make sure that exposure is extended. So if we go to the apple, you can see there's only 1 frame exposure there. So let's bring that back, and then if we press F5, just type in 5000, that exposure is extended all the way down, and we'll move it up to our tree, and then this is where it starts to fall. So I'll keyframe it there. So let's bring it down into his hand. So I'm going to put it about there, and this hand needs an overlay to go in front of the apple. So I'm going to go to the drawing of the hand, and I'm going to take that line art, paste it there. So we only need this finger here. So let's take our stroke tool, which you can normally find under the paint bucket tool. You can press K to enable that. And then we're going to fill that in with his skin color. And then it's in front of the apple. And we're just going to move the apple just so it's there. And I'm going to bring his hand down in front of his face like he's about to eat it. And we'll bring his hand down to his side. We'll reset that. Let's reset that angle. We'll go back to that hand as well. Going to bring his arm out, and then his head's going to come down, so he's going to be looking at it. We'll move those eyes down as well. So this is where we need to put the apple into the hand of the character rig. Go back up to the master. We need to push that down a little bit to have that there. So yeah, this is the point where it changes. That's the apple outside the rig. And then after this point, this is where it's going to actually disappear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Alt-Shift-R to create an empty drawing. And then I'm going to take this apple and I'm going to press Control-C. And then we're going to go over to this hand. So we can select that hand, press O in the node view. And this is where we've got our prop item here. So we need to paste it into here. And to do that, we're going to go paste special. So we want to duplicate it. We don't want to clone it. So I'm going to put always create drawing files, create new columns, press OK. I'm going to plug that in. So now we've got that into the rig, and I'm just going to basically match it to that shape of the other apple. And we will send that backwards, I think, so that it's under the hand as well by pressing Alt and up. So now what we've got here, we've got one apple, which is part of the background outside the character rig. You know, it starts here, it falls into the hand, and then when he reacts to it, catching it and taking that weight, it flips over to our apple inside the character rig. So then that means the apple will move with the arm when you want to animate it. And so now that we've done that, let's collapse the master. So he's got the apple now, it comes down, he looks at it for a little bit, then we'll have him take a little bite out of it. So we'll move that arm back. Let's put a wee bend in it. And this is the anticipation of the bite. So he's got it, and then he's gonna put his head back, move his arm forward a little bit, open his mouth, and then go bite. We could move his body back just a little bit as well. Maybe bring that arm up. And then this can be the bite. I'm going to copy that frame there, and then I'm going to paste it to here. So this arm is coming up to the mouth. We're going to bring that arm forward a little bit. Actually, I'm going to bring that head forward. And then this is where it changes to the bite. And we'll also have to add in a new mouth shape. So we'll start with that one, and then we'll do a duplication. Just put it in the middle of there. Get rid of that. takes the munch. Then we can have him go back to his normal pose. I am going to paste the head. And then we're going to do like a closed eye shape, which is going to be like this, but the opposite way around. And we'll do that mouth rotating and probably the jaw moving as well with it. And then we'll have a swallow. So we might have that head come up a little bit actually. And then we'll have that mouth. We'll have him rotate a touch on the upper body there. So this is where he says a new audio line, which is Yamo. So we're going to import that final sound. So he's going to bring his arm up and he's going to go Yamo. So we'll copy this one over here. This is where he's going to be giving a thumbs up. And he's going to be looking at the camera. So let's get that head turned around. And yeah, this is going to be a new hand. So So that does it for part 1 of this video. I know I talked about using photos and videos for reference for your poses, but you can also sketch out your poses using the pencil tool over the top on a drawing layer. So we have our golden poses in, and in part 2 of this video, we will be focusing on blocking in a little bit more detail, where we'll add the anticipation and follow through poses. Then we will work on the breakdowns, which are the frames in between the poses. I know I did say I was going to have him walking out of shot, so I'll probably do that in the next video as well. Bye! Thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, you can leave them down in the comment section below, or you can ask me live over on Twitch, where I stream this stuff 5 days a week. If you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, please feel free to like and subscribe. Your support really does go a long way. And if you want to be notified of any future videos, you can click that notification bell. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!